Hi everyone, welcome back to my sewing studio. In today's video, we're going to address a problem that I get a lot of emails about, and that is how to successfully pleat your fabric, keep it on grain, make sure you get the great result that you want. Essentially, we are troubleshooting your pleater. First, if you are new here, let me introduce myself. I am Lisa, the owner and designer behind Pink Hollybush Designs. The goal of Pink Hollybush through our courses and our patterns is to help sewists master smocking, heirloom sewing, and working with knit fabrics so that they can confidently create beautiful clothes that they and their families will love. Today we are talking all about the pleater. It's a wonderful machine. Where would we be without it, having to hand pleat everything? But it definitely takes some time to learn how to master it and get a great result when you're pleating fabric. You can't just take a strip of fabric, just put it through and have a beautiful result. I wish it worked like that, but it doesn't. So let's troubleshoot. If you're not getting a good result, then what are the problems? Okay, so the first potential problem and the easiest to fix, although not the least expensive, are your needles. You need to first make sure you have the right needles for your pleater. There are different needles for different pleaters, and they are not interchangeable. Right now, there's something out there called generic needles. I have not had good results with them. I actually have a blog post on that. I will link to it. But what I sell and use are genuine Amanda Jane needles. I use those needles in both my Amanda Jane and my Sally Stanley. So yes, they work in the Sally Stanley. If you have a reed, you need to get genuine reed needles. And there are two different kinds for reed pleaters. So you need to make sure you have the right needles for the pleater that you have. Now, assuming that you do, the second thing is, are those needles bent? So you're having problems, the quickest, easiest thing to do is take your needles out, nest them all together, and see if you have a bent one. If you do, get rid of it, okay? And then put those needles back in and rethread them. Okay, after you've done, well, or maybe before you've put the needles back in, let me back up. The next thing you want to check is, does your pleater need to be cleaned? Okay, and how would you know this? Well, do you have any of those little threads all stuck in the gears on either side? If you do, get your seam ripper, get your tweezers, and get them out. If you can't get them out by just removing the one pleater bar that comes out to change the needles, then you might actually have to go to the next step and do a thorough cleaning of your pleater, which involves taking it apart with a screwdriver. I have a whole video showing you how to do that. I will link to that as well. Okay. Let's assume that we have no bent needles. We have our pleater cleaned. We've put our needles back in. What next? Make sure you put some lubrication through. That's as simple as taking a piece of wax paper and feeding it through the pleater, but it makes a huge difference. I do this every time I pleat. Leave the piece of wax paper in your pleater box as a reminder. So when you pull the pleater out, it's there. You can use the same piece of wax paper several times. When it starts losing all the wax, it's time to replace it. But do that every time. Next thing to note, as I mentioned at the beginning, the pleater does not feed the fabric through. You do. You have to be the boss of your fabric. You have to be controlling it as it goes through the pleater, and you have to be making constant adjustments to make sure it stays on grain. A couple ways you do that is by properly marking your fabric before you get started. Again, I have a whole video showing you how to do that. I will link to that. Go watch that video where I show you step by step how I am pleating the fabric. I will say that the thing I see the most is people just going too fast as they're pleating. Go slow. A quarter of a turn of that knob at a time, constantly making sure that you are on grain, that you're lining up, that you make little adjustments with that fabric if you're starting to go off at all. Next thing, practice. Practice, 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 and practice with a few needles and a small strip of fabric. I've had people email me and send me videos where they have their pleater completely full with all the needles, and they're trying to pleat this great big skirt with 16 or 20 rows on their first go. Absolutely not. You will not get a good result. Start with a strip of fabric, okay, 4 or 5 inches wide, just 5 or 6 needles, and go slow. I have a get started pleating video also that shows you and talks a little bit more about that. I will link to that one as well. The thing you need to know is that the longer the piece of fabric you are pleating and the more rows you are pleating, the more difficult it is to keep on grain, okay? So you always want to start with a smaller piece of fabric. It's why in my Learn to Smock course, we start with a pleated insert, not a whole skirt. And you want to pleat just a few rows. There are very few designs that require you to pleat 16 or 20 rows, even for an older child. Okay. For most designs, we're pleating 8, 10 rows, but start with 4 or 5 and a strip of fabric and put it through. Were you able to keep that on grain? Great. Practice with a little bit bigger strip of fabric. Before you know it, you will be able to do that great skirt that you are looking to pleat. I hope these tips have helped you. Let me know in the comments below, what difficulties are you having with your pleating? I'd love to address them in a future video if I can help you with that. And if you're interested in more help or getting started smocking, I have a great resource for you, my Get Started Smocking email series. It is completely free. It walks you through all the basic first steps. I will link to that below. Make sure to go over and grab that, and happy smocking.